I've been saying the exact same thing about these two buildings for the longest time. I've been telling people to avoid these two buildings. Today's video, yet another weekly condo market update. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty, back with another video for you guys here today. Another weekly condo market update. As always, you can find my contact information in the description box with regards to my Gmail, my Instagram, and my office. Feel free to get in touch with me with any questions you may have with regards to the Toronto/GTA real estate market or anything I might have covered in previous videos or this video. Furthermore, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Your support in that regard is, as always, appreciated, but you're not obliged to do so whatsoever. Feel free not to subscribe, not to review. If you want, leave a bad review, unsubscribe, dislike, just make it constructive if it's gonna be negative. Anyways, let's get to the point of today's video, which is a condo market update, as I always do on a weekly basis. Sometimes it's more numbers heavy, sometimes it's more news heavy, but I always try to get equal parts of both in terms of giving the numbers, the facts, and then my opinions and the news. Starting with the cost of rent. The cost of rent in the city of Toronto is actually for condominiums, this is, right? So now we're not accounting for freehold rentals. For condominiums, it's actually going up in the city of Toronto, but in the suburbs, it's falling slightly. This is after the 20% fall of, rental prices that we saw after the worldwide event started. And, we were in the first couple of months of the worldwide event up to March and April, where in March and April, things started steadily going up in terms of the condo rents recovering. As of June of 2021, when we look at the city of Toronto, just Toronto, so we're not accounting for what we would call the suburbs, which is York region, the rest of the GTA, just the city of Toronto. The median price for a one-bedroom condominium in terms of rental price is $1,800. For a two-bedroom condo, you're looking at a median of $2,300. Respectively, on both fronts, this is a 0.6% increase and a 0.4% increase. So very, very negligible amounts. Truly, when we use the term inching back up, we really mean it's a matter of inches here, right? It's 0.6 and 0.4%. However, in the rest of the GTA, once again, we can talk about Richmond Hill, Vaughan, Markham, because when we talk about condominiums outside the city of Toronto, we're truly only talking about Markham, Vaughan, and Richmond Hill. Of course, there's Peel region as well. That's where the most densely populated area is in terms of condominiums outside of the city of Toronto. So in Richmond Hill, for instance, condo prices have remained pretty even, so less than even a 0.6, 0.4% increase. Whereas, for instance, in Vaughan, condo prices have dipped a tiny bit. Now, the reason, in my frank opinion, that we're seeing an increase in the city of Toronto, and I haven't looked at the downtown numbers specifically, but I think if I look out just downtown Toronto, so eliminating North York, Midtown, Etobicoke, Mississauga, basically anywhere that's not C1, C8 downtown. If we were to look at downtown prices, I would assume we would see even a bigger increase than 0.4 or 0.6, because in my frank opinion, what's happening is the demand for downtown rentals due to things opening up and the worldwide event coming to, hopefully, we don't want to speak too early, but hopefully an end. Downtown rental condos are once again in demand because of work-life reasons. Whereas before, during the last year, a year and a half, it wasn't the case. There was no need to rent downtown. So much so that it actually impacted the prices, where the prices for condominiums in downtown Toronto bottomed out in November, December, and then slowly, steadily increased back up into April, March, and now once again they're kind of actually falling in prices. Moving on to other news, which is this interesting study done by Strata, which is showing two condominium buildings that actually are carrying down the averages the most and selling below average the most in downtown Toronto. And if you've been watching this channel for a long time, I've been saying the exact same thing about these two buildings for the longest time. I've been telling people to avoid these two buildings. But before we get into that, let me go through the numbers a bit. When we look at the most recent month of complete sales we have at our disposal, we see the average selling price of a condominium is $716,000. So having said that the average is $716,000 in the city of Toronto, In Little Portugal, which is a community within the downtown Toronto core, the average is actually in the 500s, looking at $582,000 as the average selling price of a condo, well below the average of the entire city, not just downtown Toronto. So why is this the case? Well, it's because you have two particular buildings, 36 Lisgar and 68 Abel, that are carrying down the averages, are truly some of the worst condominiums I've ever shown or seen. In the past, when I've talked about prices per community in the downtown Toronto area, anytime I've discussed Little Portugal, I have said the reason I'm not the biggest fan of Little Portugal is because these two buildings take up a lot of the supply, they carry down the averages, and once again, I always tell clients to avoid these buildings at all costs. These buildings, you'll actually find one-bedroom condos that are selling in the low 400s. These two buildings have truly a large amount of turnover in terms of inventory, meaning owners are holding onto the units for a less period of time than average, and units stay on the market for a long time, which also translates to the fact that units are often relisted and listed several times because they're not selling. According to the study, they're selling at around $900 per square feet, where the average in the west end of the downtown Toronto core, you're looking at $970 per square foot. Now, why are these buildings bad? Why have I always been talking about that it's best to avoid these two buildings? Because of many reasons, but you have cheap finishes. And you know, if you think you've seen cheap finishes in a condo you've purchased or in a condo you've seen with a realtor, you probably haven't seen cheap finishes until you see these finishes. But cheap finishes, poor layouts, very, very small layouts. In certain circumstances, you actually have problems with the condominium corporation in terms of issues with their budgets and poor management. Management always makes a difference, right? You take the concierge, the layout, the professionalism of the management company for granted sometimes. Proper property management for condominiums is always key. It's one of those things where it's done right, you don't notice it, but when it's not done right, you definitely do notice it. Think about it. As a buyer, if you're about to go see a condominium unit and you walk in and you see a disorganized concierge in terms of there is Amazon packages everywhere, people are constantly waiting and crowding the front, you see the cheap finishes, you see this disorganization in the lobby, the security / concierge at the front are nowhere to be found, and when they are to be found, they seem a little unprofessional. All these things are making a difference, and truly, you know, at the end of the day, it's very minor from the investment perspective. From the investment perspective, if you see a good rate of return, at the end of the day, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But from an end user's perspective, when everything else is already bad about the building, once again, the layouts, the cheap build, the problems with the condominium corporation, the last thing you need is also poor management as well. Anyways, this was this weekly condo market update for this week. Feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review, or you can find my contact information in the description box. Let me know if you have any further questions about anything I might have covered in this video or any other video. Feel free to get in touch with me in the comments or via my contact info. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe.